The Wizard and I. It's a hit song from the musical Wicked. If you haven't seen it, it's in all the theaters, of course. It's an amazing production, and I've been waiting for a long time for this to come out on video because the music is really so spectacular. Stephen Schwartz has such an amazing grasp of harmony. And what I want to do in this video is to go through that song and talk about some of the things that are going on, some of the musical things, some of the harmonic things, and we're going to walk through it kind of step by step at the piano and listen to it together. Hi, my name is Jason Paul Peterson. I'm a professional concert pianist, and I love making videos to break down music for everyday people, try and make it a little simpler and kind of look behind the curtain, as it were, at some of the magic that's going on. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's go ahead and dig right in. Let's get started with The Wizard and I. So here's how it starts.
Did that really just happen? Have I actually understood this weird quirk I've tried to suppress or hide? Is a talent that could help me meet.
All right, so one of the neat things that's going on right at the beginning of this song, we have these two chords at the beginning here. This, and you know, it sounds so sort of dreamlike and magical. What Stephen Schwartz is doing here is he's using chords that are related to each other by thirds. So, you know, in a lot of music, we have these dominant tonic progressions, what we call 5-1, or subdominant to tonic 4-1. These are progressions that are built on fifths and fourths, like G to C, for example. Boom, boom. It's like a Mozartian kind of Beethoven kind of sound. When we get into progressions later on that start moving by thirds in music history, because these don't happen so often back in the time of Mozart and Beethoven, these harmonies sound a lot more sort of dreamlike and ethereal and kind of mysterious in character. So A flat major is this first chord going to a C major chord. That's what gives us this cool sound. But actually what Stephen Schwartz does that makes it even more exciting is he keeps the A flat in the bass. So we have A flat going to C, but this A flat stays there. Really cool sound. And the same thing again. And then we get this here, which I like to think of sort of as the James Bond progression in major. So it also sounds sort of ethereal and uncertain and what's going on, and that sense of mystery. And that comes from this chromatic motion in these chords in the left hand here. You'll see as I'm playing them, moving up step by step. If it were a minor chord, it would sound just like the James Bond theme, right? This is the James Bond melody at the beginning. So lots of uncertainty in these chords. 2 times the same thing, and the third time we get this big jump up, lots of energy, and now finally we're going somewhere with these amazing chords right here. And this, what is this? Crazy chord. It's like an A flat 7, like this, but with the added fourth, the D flat on the top, and that gives it a really, really crunchy sound. And it goes to here, even crunchier. This is also sort of like an A flat 7, but the fifth of the chord is raised up to E, and we still have the normal fifth down below. So this, listen to that, really, really, really dissonant. And both of them together, it's such a crunchy sound. Crazy, I love it. Let's listen again to the two of them together. This and that, and now we go to D flat. So this is actually, finally, and the first time in the piece, really, this dominant tonic progression, 5-1, and it happens right on the climax of the piece. Help me meet the wizard. And now we finally arrive somewhere on D flat, and I'm just going to play a little bit more here. Now we're in C minor, and big surprise, whoa, what's that? That's a G flat chord, but we were just in C minor, going from a C minor chord to a G flat minor. Really, really, really crazy, because those chords are related by tritones. They're as far away as you can possibly get from each other, harmonically speaking. C minor 7, G flat major 9, because we have the A flat there, which is the 9th above the bass. So it's like a G flat chord, but with the 9th gives it a little extra color. And then we go to, we've arrived in C. Let's listen to it a little further.
If I make good,
Big surprise. Whoa.
I'll make good. When I meet the wizard, once I prove my worth, and then I meet the wizard, what I've waited for since birth.
Cool. Okay, so what's cool about this section is not only that we go from this G flat chord suddenly to, again, C, so far away, completely different world, but listen to the use of what we call pedal point here. Pedal point is when chords above are changing, but the note on the bottom in the bass stays the same. And usually pedal points have this kind of really, really cool feeling of tension, this unresolved tension, because the bass is so sort of stubborn and staying on the same note. So we have C, watch this, the C stays the same the whole time. Up above, different chords that are changing. C is always there. And another thing that just gives this so much energy, and I love the percussion in this piece, amazing. But the thing that gives it so much energy is that all these chords are happening on the offbeats. Bum, 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 bum. Think of how boring it would have been if he had done. Instead we get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So all those chords happening on the offbeats really, really make it cool and exciting. Let's listen to a little more.
And with all his wizard wisdom, by my looks, he won't be blinded.
That's also really cool right there. Really, really interesting chords. So we have dum, bum, 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 going to this E minor chord. Again, that idea of chords related by thirds, right? We have C going up to E minor. And then after that, we're going to get some other cool chords. Going to B flat and C. Chords that are related stepwise. B flat is lower, C is higher. One step below C, going up to C. Also a cool sound. Let's keep listening.
Wizard is dumb, like a munchkin, so small-minded. No, he'll say to me, I see who you truly are, a girl on whom I can rely, and that's how we'll begin, the wizard and I.
Yeah, really cool. So one of the things you notice a lot about Stephen Schwartz's music is that he likes to take kind of normal chords and make them a bit crunchier, a bit crispier. So when we get this music like da, 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 dum, here, this is a D minor 7th chord, but he adds the 4th to it, the G. Just a little more exciting than if he had done this. A D minor 7 normally would be that. Switching that A with a G, a little more interesting, right? And this, G, but using not the G in the bass, but the B. This is a chord in inversion, and it leads really nicely to the C chord, which he also then puts in inversion, not using the C in the bass, but the E in the bass. Kind of cool. And here also, instead of using a regular G chord, which would be fine, would be a little more boring, he uses a sus chord, adding the 4th above the bass. So taking this 3rd of the G chord, moving it up a step, G sus. Really, really cool. Now, I just want to take a second to mention, if you've ever tried to learn piano from YouTube online, it can be really difficult, I know. You're kind of grasping a little bit here, a little bit there. You don't know what you need to know and in what order. You don't know if you can trust the teaching. You don't know what pieces are right to play and in what order. That's why I created the Peterson Piano Academy. It's a comprehensive piano course which features over 200 videos divided into theory, technique, and repertoire. So you can work on exercises, you can learn about musical harmony, and you can have graded tutorials on pieces that have been carefully selected for every level. So you'll progress much, much faster than you would otherwise, and you'll learn all the important things you need to know about harmony, about technique at the piano, and about interpretation. So getting back to The Wizard and I, let's continue. Let's listen to the next part.
wizard, my whole life will change. 'Cause once you're with the wizard, no one thinks you're strange. No father is not proud of you. No sister acts ashamed. And all of us has to love you. And by the wizard you're acclaimed. And this gift or this curse I have inside, maybe at last I'll know why. As we work hand in hand, the wizard and I.
Whoa, what's this? This is really cool. So this is what we would call a deceptive cadence, and it's a very, very deceptive cadence. A cadence is when we have something like, closing 5-1 into C. But here we have this expectation set up, and we're expecting a continuation of that, just like we had before. C, D, G, all these normal chords. But instead we get this big surprise. What is this? Whoa, crazy. Moving to A major 7. So again, chords related by thirds. We have the C major chord. We're going to an F and then to A major 7. So from F to A major 7 is that really, really funky and completely unexpected modulation that we have in this piece. And Stephen Schwartz loves to do that. Just when you think you know what's going to happen, he throws in a surprise. Let's keep listening.
And one day he'll say to me, Alphabet, a girl who is so superior, shouldn't a girl who's so good inside have a matching exterior? And since folks here to an absurd degree.
This is cool. I love this progression. So we have... So what are these chords? They're crunchy, they're really, really fun, they're interesting. Again, it's like Stephen Schwartz doing these things that are just a little bit sort of crooked. They're not exactly what we're expecting. They're normal chords with a twist. So this first one, C minor, but it has this ninth added, this D, which makes it a little crunchier. A ninth is a great way to make a chord a little bit more interesting, used in jazz all the time. And this one, classic Stephen Schwartz chord, this is a B flat chord, again with the fourth added to it. This E flat is the fourth, makes it a little bit crunchy, a little bit more, exciting. Same thing with the F chord here. It's interesting because you could call it actually an F chord with a G, or you could actually call it a C chord, a C sus4 chord. So C and G with an F, that's probably an even better way to describe it. Sometimes there are multiple ways to look at the same chord, and this one I would say is like a C chord with a sus4 here. And then B flat chord, a couple cool things there. That's a ninth, so we have the C there. And we have the third of the chord in the bass, so the D in the bass. Really, really sort of funky chord progression there. Let's keep going.
Seem fixated on your verdigris. Would it be alright by you if I degreenify you? And though of course that's
Cool. So here, he's using some stepwise motion again. It almost sounds kind of Spanish, right? You get that... this kind of stepwise motion. So going from a half step above C, back to C, going down to B flat minor 7, and C, and that leads us to... Let's keep listening from there.
not important to me. Alright, why not? I'll reply. Oh, what a pair we'll be, the wizard and I. Yes, what a pair we'll be, the wizard and...
Whoa. Cool. Another one of those surprises. This time we're going to... So he doesn't surprise us the same way he did last time. This time it's a new surprise, and now we're going to C flat with sort of like a G flat major 7 chord on top of the C flat chord. So it's really, really kind of, these are what we might call a slash chord. We got one chord down here, and then we got another chord going on up here. Gives it this really dreamy quality. And then we get this huge leap in the bass. Let's listen some more.
My future is unlimited, and I've just had a vision almost like a prophecy. I know it sounds true.
Yeah, it's so cool. Now, right here, something really, really crazy happens. And I don't know how many people have actually caught on to this, but I want you to listen to this. See if you recognize this melody that the singer sings here from somewhere else outside of Wicked. The beginning of that melody. It's the melody out of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Crazy. I just realized that. I've been listening to this song for months, and I just realized actually that comes straight out of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Really, really cool. Was it a conscious decision? It almost has to be. I can't prove it, but it's really, really coincidental, and probably not coincidental. Probably a conscious decision by Stephen Schwartz. Okay, let's listen a little further.
Really crazy and true. The vision's hazy, but I swear someday there'll be a celebration throughout Oz. It's all to do with me.
Oh man, so there's so many surprises here. Listen to this. So we get this chord, crazy chord, A flat diminished, and over sort of this D or E double flat on the bass, and now the pedal comes in. The pedal point, this D flat that stays. And now a switch to a chord related by thirds, the A major chord, really cool, and to D, and now down a half step to D flat. The pedal again, the same note, building up tension, and boom. And then we go from D flat down to B flat, which is again thirds, not the fifths that we're expecting. We're almost expecting after all of this to go to G flat, but he thwarts our expectations, as he does so often. Big surprise right there. Let's keep listening. Whoa! Wild again. So we have, and now G flat minor 7 and B flat major 7 over C, going to a C7, and now again C7. It's a dominant chord. We would expect it to go to F. That would be the normal resolution of a C7 chord, but again we get this surprise, dropping down a half step to B major. Really, really crazy and wild. And in that moment, it's just like, whoa, what the heck is going on here? Such a cool progression. And then we get the theme that we already know in this new key. So we've modulated now to the key of B. Let's listen some more.
People see me, they will scream for half of Oz's favorite team.
That's a cool chord. Whoa! Yeah, we'll talk about that one. Also some cool chords at the end there. Wow. And what, I have to say, what amazing singing there as well. I think what's cool is when we get this part. This here is our theme that we already know. Then it gets switched up into C. which is what we call a sequence in music. It's adding a little tension. It's just moving the whole thing up a step. And then we get... Oh my gosh, what is this? Crazy F minor chord with the major seventh on the top, and then adding the, not the root of the chord, but the A flat in the bass. Big, big, big dominant arrival, sus4 chord plus the seventh on G. Dun, da, da, da. And this time, finally, at the end of the song, we get finally the tonic we've been waiting for forever. Boom, boom. We go to C, and then a quick deceptive cadence, and then at the end, really cool, F, D flat, one step too high, B, one step too low, and finally C. And so it's a kind of a cool way of like surrounding the chord. So we're sort of noodling around the chord. We get a D flat chord, one step too high, B major chord, a step too low, and then we finally drop to C. But by the way, these are not exactly normal chords because Stephen Schwartz loves to add these little things that just change it a little bit. So we get D flat with the sharp 4 in the right hand, down to the B with a sort of an added flat 6 with this G on the top, or whatever you want to call it. Otherwise it would be a B chord, but we have this weird G on the top, and then finally our completely normal C chord. So really, really cool song, and such amazing harmonies going on in this piece as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon.